Hi guys, welcome back to the Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about the transit 2025 and doing an understanding reading of the entire year for 2025 for the sign of Pisces. And you can watch this video both from an ascendant rising Pisces perspective as well as Pisces moon perspective as well. So I hope that clarifies many of these questions that you've been putting on the mailbox, on my chat box, and we can get started in terms of understanding that what 2025 entails for you, my Pisces friends. Now, guys, first and foremost, 2025 is an year of transits. The biggest transit of the year, the much awaited transit, is that going to be of Saturn, who is going to be moving into the sign of Pisces itself, into your first house from its move of Aquarius. Then you have the transit of Rahu and Ketu. Rahu is currently sitting in the sign of Pisces while Ketu is sitting in the sign of Virgo, and Rahu will now be moving into its co-ownered Rashi of Aquarius while Ketu will be moving in the sign of Leo. Then you have the big transit of your Lagna Lord Jupiter. And what about Jupiter? He is getting Atichari in a fast-paced, aggressive motion. He usually likes to spend about a year or so in every sign, but this time around in 2025, he is going to be transiting from the sign of Taurus, moving into the sign of Gemini, and within a few months, it is going to be embarking on its sign of exaltation in Cancer. So he seems to be in pretty bit of a rush. And this is happening after many years, so it is going to be an important aspect. Then we have to also understand that 2025 totals to 9. So many people from a numerology perspective say it's the year of Mars. And guys, Mars has been sitting in retrogression and debilitation at this point in time. He will get back into the sign of Gemini and then come back to Cancer as it gets progressive and direct, and will further move into its sign of Leo, Virgo, etc. And henceforth through the course of the year, definitely providing some respite there. And more importantly, Venus is going to spend about 110 days in its sign of exaltation in your first house in Pisces itself. So, what an year that we can anticipate from 2025 perspective. So, without further ado, let's jump start from a month-wise approach and figure out what's going to happen. Starting in January, around 27th of Jan itself, you will find that Venus, who's the lord of your 8th house and your 3rd house, will be coming into your ascendant sign, into your first house itself in this month in conjunction with Rahu. Now, the lord of 3rd house coming in the first house means that there is going to be a lot of efforts, hard work, energy, which is going to come into play. And it is going to come into a level of maximizing it. This Rahu is going to amplify things. It is going to dial up the tone to a next level, which means that you are going to be putting exorbitant amount of efforts to achieve whatever you've set your eyes on. You are anticipating some hard work. And when I say some hard work, real hard work in the 3 to 4 month period where Venus will be sitting in this position. Now, Rahu's presence here has brought in a lot of confusion as well as big thoughts, big mindset, risk taking appetite in you. And it is going to get further amplified during this phase where you would want to achieve a lot more. This Venus is also the lord of your 8th house. So, the level of spirituality, inclination towards the occult, acquiring knowledge in that space will also be highlighted during this period. You will be learning a lot and expanding and sharing that to the world. It is also possible that during this period, you might want to embark upon certain research initiatives. Many of you might be looking forward to take tall order when it comes to getting into PhD programs, research initiatives, learning new skills, upskilling yourself into newer areas. And that is going to be very critical. It is going to happen in conjunction with foreign spheres. It is going to happen in conjunction with foreign lands. So you might want to embark upon, let's say, taking a research course or a PhD course in a foreign university. That is a high probability that I anticipate people embarking upon. The other bit is that during the same phase, you might take some international travel. You might get on a getaway for a brief period where you would want to just take a brief vacation, but it will be an international vacation. The probability of you doing so is going to be very high, especially if you are watching this from a moon sign perspective. You would be making plans right now, I believe, as to what you would want to do in the month of Jan, Feb, April, and March and April, right? During these durations, you might be looking forward to travel out as well. It might be a fruitful journey, luxurious journey that you want to embark upon. Remember, Ketu is still sitting in your 7th house, and partnerships, they haven't panned out for you the way you would have desired. But you will get some respite. Fear not. We will talk about that in a bit. But as we move into the month of March, Saturn, who's the lord of your 11th and 12th house, is coming into your first house itself. So there will be conjunction of this Saturn with Venus and Rahu. Now, Saturn is okay with its conjunction with Venus, but he is not satisfied with its presence of Rahu in the same house. And to make matters interesting, you will have two more planets, Sun and Mercury as well, who will be getting conjoined in the same house itself. So you see, there will be a lot of traffic in the sign of Pisces during this period, and there will be so much clutter on yourself. When I say clutter, it means variety of ideas, lots of spiraling energies. So you have to make sure that you are able to channelize yourself, focus in the right way, which is going to be the biggest challenge for you folks. But it is also going to bring a lot of growth. It is going to bring a lot of positive aspects as well, because you see, Sun is the lord of sixth, which means you could be troubled with challenges, but you will be having the ability to fight them as well. Mercury is the lord of your fourth as well as your seventh house coming into your first, which means that there will be avenues where you would work in partnerships and expand on your wealth, expand on your assets as well. So it's not all negative, but yes, there will be so much happening that you will have to learn to prioritize. And that is going to be the biggest challenge. It is the remedy in a way that Pisces you have to figure out moving forward during this period. Now, Saturn's presence into your sign of Pisces in the first house itself will be giving an aspect to your third house where Jupiter is currently sitting. Remember, Jupiter is in the sign of Taurus. It is in a Parivartan Yoga, in an exchange with Venus, means your energies and your hard work, if aligned, are going to deliver tremendous outcomes for you. It is going to make you spiritual as a person as well, because Jupiter is aspecting your ninth, your fifth house, as well as your 11th house. So your hard work is going to deliver your gains as well. Albeit, this aspect of Jupiter has been in a debilitated aspect in the sign of Capricorn, but still you do anticipate some positive outcome. And Saturn's aspect to the third house means he is going to push you to work hard. Saturn coming into the first house expects you to work hard. He expects you to focus. He expects you to overcome the tests that he will throw at you. He is not going to throw too many tests because he likes, or rather he has a neutral relationship with Jupiter. Yet, Saturn being Saturn and the sadistic planet, it is going to give challenges. And I believe you will have the ability to overcome these challenges as well if you put your mind at work. The Saturn is going to be giving an aspect to your 7th house and more importantly to your 10th house, which is the sign of Jupiter itself, means that you are going to be doing some high moral ground related calls, decisions at your workplace. And that is going to be a test, but you will succeed at it. Why? Because as we move towards the month of May, at around 14th, 15th May, this Jupiter is going to be coming into your 4th house. Directionally, that's a good placement for Jupiter to be in. It's a natural house of exaltation for Jupiter. Remember that. So your Lagna Lord is coming into the 4th house and will be directly aspecting the 10th as well. So from a work front perspective, from your career perspective, from a social respect perspective, you are going to see a rise in your status. A stature increase will come. There will be a lot more acceptance from the people who are facing you. This Jupiter, though, is an inimical situation, but he still is in a very comfortable spot when compared to any other zodiac signs that we've discussed in this series. It will be aspecting your 8th as well as your 12th. So matters related where you have to put efforts in isolation, please be prepared for that, because that is going to be the mantra in 2025. It is all about working in a fast-paced environment. And even your Lagna Lord, your ascendant or moon Lord is also depicting the same outcome for you. Now, as this transit happens, 15 days later, the true transit of Rahu and Ketu will occur, where Rahu will be then getting into your 12th house and Ketu will be coming into your 6th house. You will have lack of interest into your daily regimen. There is a very strong probability that you might not be able to keep up with your discipline. You might not be very excited about your job as well, and your mind could be somewhere else. Where Rahu will give that indication. Rahu's presence in the 12th house in its own sign is going to give you that exorbitant amount of interest in all international affairs. You might be looking forward to amplify your interactions with people from different countries and regions. Maybe you will be pushing your karma in that direction as well. Why? Because Jupiter and Rahu will be in trine to each other. So people who are in import-export related businesses, people who are anticipating some sort of movement with respect to their immigration stuff, people who are interested in terms of working towards all 12th house related matters, you guys can see a lot of positive outcome. Why the heck am I saying positive outcome? Because Rahu is in his own sign, in his own zodiac of Aquarius, and he would want to amplify outcomes related to that. So that could also mean that expenses could be on the rise. And folks, those expenses will be on check once Jupiter moves into the next. And we will talk about that in a bit. You must direct those expenses into investments and make sure that you derive the right outcome. Ketu, on the other hand, will be aspecting your 10th house. So he will be bringing that withdrawal. Especially if you are in a job, many people might be looking forward to switch their jobs. They would not be interested in the work that they are doing. And I would just urge you to look into your natal dashas as well and figure out that how this transit, which I usually say has a 15-20% impact, in collaboration to your natal dasha, give you the exact outcome. If you would want to get that analysis done, where you want to figure out that how the next 12 months in 2025 pan out for you and analyze your birth chart in conjunction with the transit, feel free to reach out to me on my Instagram DM or on my email and schedule a session to plan the year ahead effectively and learn to rule your planets. Now, as we talked about this transit of Rahu and Ketu, the other interesting bit that is going to happen is that by this time, Mars, effectively around June, July timeframe, will be coming out of its debilitation and move into the fifth houses, into the sixth house as well in the sign of Leo. So there is some bit of energy, hyper action that might come into play from all those perspectives. And once we do the monthly readings in those stages, I will bring you a lot more clarity as to how things will be panning out for you. The next big transit post Rahu and Ketu will be the movement again of your loving Lord, who is going to get exalted, and he is going to get exalted in the fifth house. Which means, students, if you are watching this video, it is going to be high time for you to take the right calls, measures with respect to your university admissions, college admissions, or any kind of new educational journey that you want to embark upon. People who are looking forward to date new partners, who are looking forward to establish new relationships, I see a very positive period for you folks as well, where in the last quarter of the year, you might come in contact with somebody new, you might form new bonding, new association, new relationships, and that could be the start of an amazing journey in your life. Not necessarily panning out into marriage immediately because of not an aspect from Jupiter, but again, you have to refer to your natal dasha to figure out if that is the case. Now, this exalted Jupiter also means your investment strategies could be in the right direction in the last quarter of the year. Whatever, you will turn things and they will turn gold. In fact, referring to gold, you must plan about making investments into gold as well, because they might pan out pretty good for you. Now, this Jupiter is also going to be giving a debilitated aspect to your 11th house, but fear not, it is still going to bring in certain level of gains for you. Remember, Lord of 11th is sitting into your Lagna. So you are going to be driven by chasing outcomes, chasing goals, chasing desires, and fulfilling them. So that energy is already there, and Jupiter is further with its exalted presence, and though a debilitated aspect, will bring further fire to the fury here. He is also going to be giving an aspect to your 9th house in the sign of Scorpio. Religious matters, religious journeys will be on the rise for you, and most importantly, he will be giving an aspect to his own sign, own house of Pisces. Means he is going to keep that Saturn in check as well, and anything that can go haywire will be kept in check with this aspect of Jupiter. So folks, I see that there is a lot of positive movement in the year 2025 for you. From a health perspective, I would want you to keep a check, because once Ketu comes in there, some kind of challenges might crop up, especially emotional challenges might come into play. You might want to be careful with respect to that. Do not get too worked up. Do not take too much stress, because there is so much action, so much of hard work, multi-planetary positions coming into your Lagna as well. There is a probability that you might feel exhausted through the course of this year. And that is where you will have to utilize the spiritual bent of mind, finding some good family time, which is promised in your chart as well, especially in the second half of the year with the transits of Mars taking place, as well as growing your emotional and fundamental relationships within family. If that is taken care of from a mental and emotional health perspective, I think relationships are looking good. Profession, career is looking good. Investment growths are looking good for you. And overall, 2025 is promising to be a year of phenomenal outcomes. I hope you guys have enjoyed this reading. If you have, then smash on that like button and subscribe to Dev Astrology. Om Namah Shivaya.